All right. Hopefully you've had an opportunity to take a look at that video on fertilization, and that will give you an idea of, just how random fertilization really is. And so women have no control over the egg that's going to be ovulated, as men have no control over which sperm is going to have an opportunity to actually make it to the egg. All right, so our last concept that we want to cover today is on crossing over. And crossing over also leads to variation. And the thing about crossing over is I can't predict whether it's going to happen or whether it's not going to happen and where it's going to happen. But here's a diagram that gives you an idea as to what is taking place. So in metaphase 1 of meiosis, when those homologous chromosomes form the tetrad and they find each other forming that tetrad, they get really close. And so what happens is they can literally break off, the DNA can break off and swap positions, swap locations with its homologue, so with its homologous pair. So as you can see in this diagram here, chromosome number 1, let's say it's number 1, the red coming from mom, the blue being the dad's chromosome number 1, they form that tetrad, and when that tetrad forms, then the chromosomes can literally break and change positions. What that does is that increases more variation, because now when the sister chromatids in anaphase 2, when the sister chromatids are going to split, you can see that this sister chromatid right here is no longer identical to this sister chromatid here. Not only are they not identical, but notice that this sister chromatid is a combination of dad's information as well as mom's information. So we're really starting to mix things up. And where this plays an important role is on looking at chromosomes. Remember, chromosomes have hundreds of genes on them, so hundreds of recipes. So this is taking those hundreds of recipes that are on the same chromosome and mixing them up. So whereas independent assortment, in this case, remember, these are information that are on two separate chromosomes. So what's different about crossing over is it's mixing up the information that is on the same chromosome. And so if we were to say that chromosome number 1, we've been saying it was the information for hair color, and my mom has the information for blonde hair, my dad's got the information for black hair. It also has information for eye color on it as well. My mom's had information for blue eyes, where my dad has information for brown eyes. So if the information for hair color is high on this chromosome and the information for eye color is low, you can see that if my dad has the information for black hair and brown eyes, and my mom's got blonde hair and blue eyes, that I've now separated the eye color, the hair color, away from the eye color. So I could potentially produce an offspring that has my mom's blonde hair, but my dad's brown eyes. So that's what crossing over is doing. It's leading to even more variation to the population. And so it's really hard to predict exactly what our offspring are going to look like. We know that they're just going to look like a mix-up of the parents. And if all goes well, hopefully you get the best combination of both. And so through these processes of independent assortment, random fertilization, and crossing over, by mixing up and creating these unique new combinations, then hopefully the population is getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And that's what sexual reproduction does, is it creates more variation in our population, and hopefully that variation has the best attributes attributes from both parents. So this is crossing over. Anyway, the activity that I have for you in mind for you guys today for this week is, one is you're doing that mitosis versus meiosis worksheet. So, and that's not asking you to do any crossing over. So don't worry about trying to mimic crossing over in there. I'll create a worksheet where you'll be able to do that for me. You'll mimic this for me with a couple traits on it so that you can demonstrate to me that you understand how crossing over increases variation in the population. I'll also put together a worksheet where you will demonstrate to me independent assortment and how independent assortment is increasing variation in the population. I've uploaded a YouTube link there that covers crossing over and independent assortment. I think it's done pretty well. The instructor is obviously a very much more knowledgeable online instructor than myself, and so the video I think is pretty nice, and I think that it will help you quite a bit. But these are probably the more complicated concepts in this particular unit, and so when we meet together on our Zoom sessions, you know, that's where you can ask questions. So I encourage you to look at this stuff and then figure out what is making sense, what's not making sense, so that we can then you can ask some questions on it. I'm also putting activity in there, a lab activity. It's called remote reproduction, and it's a way in which you can see how the randomness for our offspring become. And so that activity, first have you guys go through this material, and then I will upload that lab. So once we're done with our Zoom session, I'll talk to you about that lab during our Zoom session, and then we'll work on that. All right, so I hope to see you guys tomorrow. Well, on Tuesday, I should say Tuesday. For me, it's tomorrow because this is Monday night. But I hope to see you tomorrow, and we can talk about your questions and about genetics at that time. All right? Have a nice day, and see you later.